Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is a cold day, but we're here. This is video 7 in the series, really for Qigong practitioners, covering the basics of how to move the arms without moving the arms. If you've just arrived on this video, then feel free to follow and subscribe and go and check out the other previous videos that are really going to tee you up on how to do this effectively. So what we're going to be doing in here, we've discussed before about how the torso is the driver and the arms are the passenger in order to keep this and create this emptiness and this effortless flight of movement of the arms, beneficial for dumping stress, tension, and allowing you to sense that chi flow better. We're going to be doing that in this. There's a few other things kind of going on. We're syncing up the breathing, we're moving, raising the center and the core of the body up and down with the inhale and the exhale. We're also floating the arms out, twisting, cocking the wrists, etc. So a few things going down. We'll break them down accordingly. The main thing to get is on this, moving the body first before you float the arms. And this, I'll attempt to explain it intellectually, but it really becomes a felt thing once your practice develops, or whether you're quite sensitive to flight and movement and energy, you'll really feel this. And so, you know, you can get rid of the words and the lecture side of it. But the beauty of it, when we have a bent knee structure, and we raise the torso first, we're creating like a slipstream. If you think of the ease in which a motorbike will follow a lorry down a motorway, it's within that slipstream. Or if you think of an animal in water, a fish or an otter or something, and in water, as it goes through the water like this, the water will go and there'll be a nice slipstream and an ease that the water will then follow behind in the current and the space that the otter's created in the water. So I hope that helps to resonate. But the same thing happens when I'm here. If I just don't raise my center, so I don't go from a bent knees and I don't straighten the legs, not to a complete lock because that's stiffness and tension, but from bent knee I just raise the center with the inhale and straighten the leg, that creates a movement in the field here which will allow the arms to start to float up in a space, in a vacuum that's been created from that straightening and movement in the field. Now if I don't do that, because I'm just going to talk you through it and how I feel it, if I've got bent knees like so and I don't raise the torso first, I just go to lift my arm up, I feel resistance. Whether that's with the airflow, whether that's with the chi, I feel like I'm moving against a weighted pressure. Whereas if I raise this with an inhale, it creates a channel, it creates a vacuum, it creates space. It just allows movement and momentum to aid with the least amount of muscular tension. So that's what we mean by raising the center first with the inhale before you move the arms. The same thing on the downward effect. If I don't break the knees here and I just go to lower, I'm feeling like it's held up a bit. There's resistance. Whereas here, if I break first with the exhale, there's space for them to fall down. So this is the movement. We'll go through it and then we'll add it all together. I'm going to inhale, raise the center first, float the arms up, almost like I'm holding an energetic ball at the side. I'm holding a ball, so palms are facing. As we get to the top, I twist so the palms are facing away. And then as I exhale and drop, I cock the wrist so that my fingers are now pointing up towards the sky. And they float down, bend in the elbows. Inhale, raise the center, float, twist, cock, exhale, sink, break the knees a little bit, create the vacuum to float down. Couple it with the inhale, raise, twist, cock, exhale, sink, float down. I can see my arms moving, but it's like I've just sort of teleported into someone else's body. I'm just observing and witnessing, and I can see arms moving in awareness. I have no sensation of me lifting them up, which is great. And you'd hope so. I've been doing it for a long time. But at the beginning it wasn't. At the beginning I was just like, oh, my shoulders were like burning, etc. And so this will happen to anyone starting this anew, before you know, the nervous system and the movements on autopilot and blah, blah, blah. So a couple of things to think about as we're cutting through the air. We don't want to be cutting through with the hands. The hands don't want to be closed or fixed like we're trying to karate chop something. If the fingers are nice and relaxed and the hands are empty, which they should be, then we should have spaces between the fingers. The wrist here wants to be slightly limp for the emptiness to happen in the hands. Almost like if there is anything that's going to be doing the movement, it's going to be the lifting of the wrist, which will allow the hands to be empty. And you'll start to notice the sensations of chi potentially in the hands. So we're going to inhale, raise the center, float up. At the top we twist, we cock the wrists. Now on the way down, as we break the knees, you don't have to keep going down with the knees, just break them, and that slight shift is all that's needed. Make sure the arms aren't too far out. This is something else I see as you come down, because that's a lot of like tension on the shoulder with the arm straight out. If it's broken at the joint, it can effortlessly sink down, as opposed to the tension created by the rigidity and extension. This is what I said, I think, in lesson 1 or 2, that it doesn't matter if it's the first rep or the 100th rep. When this is gracefully floating like a leaf being blown around in the wind, you can go on for 100 reps and it'll still feel the same. Time this with an inhale once and exhale once, all sunk up. Now, you can, to start off with, use imagination to help with the relaxation. So when we're abdominally breathing and we're getting that expansion, that horizontal lift of the breath to start, you can imagine like the breath coming out like a force field and emanating out in all directions like a big bubble. And that is, as you inhale, that bubble, that sonic boom is kind of like lifting the arm up. Then at the top here, as we exhale and sink, you can imagine a big balloon or a Swiss ball, whatever is resting, or a cloud is resting on the arms, and the cloud or the balloon or the ball is lowering. And so these little imagination tricks can help dump tension and relieve any stress that may come in as this practice goes past a couple of minutes and tension and ache and pain start occurring. And that's just due to a lack of relaxation, and practice will sort that out. But after a while, like in any meditation, that method and use of imagination, once you've got rid of the pain and it's aided the float, you get rid of the imagination and go back into that meditative state, or putting the mind in the body, or just finding that empty awareness is where you want to go. Don't keep using the imagination techniques if they're not needed. So you'll know in this exercise quite quickly, due to the arm going above the shoulders and can cause ache, that if you're really using the arms without using the arms, you won't get that that ache anymore.